So this is day 4 of EML, is that right? Anyway, third full day. So this is a program, I'll speak for myself. I really love this program. We can't attend it much anymore because the crowds are too big, but I just love the fact that we would hear teachings from Venerable every day and then have these discussion groups where we got to hear how the whole community, including the guests in the program, were doing with these very vital topics that really get us to look deeply. And I don't know if this is your experience, but every time there was a discussion group, I'd get to the sort of initial level of what the questions were addressing. And then after about 2 hours, of hearing and thinking about what went on, I realized there are many, many layers beneath those questions that we need to really think about. So just for fun today, I thought I'd have more fun with the 8 worldly concerns. Venerable Children has been teaching on this a lot this year, and she's asked us to meditate on this. And there's a wonderful passage that addresses the 8 worldly concerns in the Foundation of Buddhist Practice. This is volume 2. So I'm going to read a little bit from this and then give you some ideas. And I'm going to give you examples. I'm going to make fun of myself today. So if you hear yourself in me making fun of myself, that's your view. So just remember that. I'm making fun of myself. Please don't write me emails later. Are you talking about me? I guess if the shoe fits, as my mother would say. So now the first question is do I wear the glasses to read out of the book because I look dorky? Or do I try and read it and I have to sort of concede to the fact that I'm going to have to put on the glasses? Then the big question earlier was, could I find a better looking pair of glasses? And this is all I've got right now. So I'm going to use these. So we're going to start with His Holiness and Venerable Children. Although we have such precious potential, we often fail to recognize it. Or even if we do, we're often distracted and do not utilize it. Our tendency is to pay more attention to gaining immediate happiness and avoiding unpleasant situations. And this is far stronger than a clear awareness that sees the value of creating the causes for a fortunate rebirth, liberation, and awakening. Our chief obstacles at present are subsumed in the 8 worldly concerns, 4 pairs of delight and dejection that produce attachment and anger. So there it is right there. These, I'll speak for myself, I don't know where you're at, but these are the chief obstacles right now, these 4 pairs. And I love the language that's used in this book about these 4 pairs. They're in a slightly different order, but the language is so immediate and useful. Gain and loss, disrepute and fame, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. These 8 worldly concerns revolve around the world, and the world revolves around these 8 concerns. So I'm just going to jump to each of these pairs and give you some kind of extreme examples from my life. And they're extreme on purpose because they're easier to look at. And if we can laugh at ourselves, we can start, zeroing in, when we're on the cushion and really looking at what's really driving us. So the first pair, financial and material gain and loss. The first pair of delights and dejections involves our relationship with money and possessions. We're elated when we have a lot of money, nice clothes, a comfortable house, a new car, good sports equipment, and we become upset when we are unable to procure the things we desire, when they're destroyed or when they're taken away from us. Sadly, many people measure their success in life by their material wealth. No matter how much they have, they are never satisfied and never feel fully successful. So I'm sure that before we all met the Dharma, we had this experience. That was certainly my orientation, that I was successful if I had things and a house and a partner and all of that. And oddly enough, when I did get all those things, there was still that big hole in my heart. And so now we may think, well, but I'm beyond that. I've been, doing Dharma things for quite some time. I might even be ordained. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to get over some of these things. Because I can look at the first one and say, oh, money and possessions, no problem. No problem. That's not the one. But then I just have to think back to a time not so long ago when someone handed out little red packets to everyone in robes. And I happened to look over at the amount that my neighbor got. And then I opened up my packet and it was like, oh. well, oh, I got $5. She got $25. So what does that mean about me as a practitioner? What does that person think about me? I'm not a very good practitioner, obviously, if I get $5 in my packet. No, there must have been a mistake. I know. They switched the envelopes. That was supposed to be my packet. Or every now and then, it doesn't happen so much anymore, but for a little while, you'd get your room, and then one day a new piece of furniture would show up and be like, oh, that's kind of nice. I can do this with that. I can put that in there. And that's very attractive. I kind of like that. And then the next day, it's like gone. And something else is in there, and it's kind of a funny-looking old thing. And you think, well, okay, easy come, easy go. I did have the thought once, though, I'm going to get one of those power screwdrivers, and just bolt it to the floor. And then I would be assured. Same thing with lamps. Sometimes a lamp would show up like, oh, that's really quite nice. I can use that when I sleep. A few days later, boom, it's gone. Or socks. We get socks here from our kind donors. I love getting a new pair of socks. So we all take the time to get out our sewing needle and thread, put our little marks on it with a special color, right? There's no way these socks are going to go missing. These are really nice socks. There's no holes yet. They're not too warm. They're not too high. They're not too short. One laundry day, that's about it. That's about it. They're gone. That is painful. I'm sorry. It's painful to separate from those nice, warm, cozy socks. But we're renunciates, remember? This is not a problem. We better move on here because I don't want to take the whole hour here. We've got to get eating. So very quickly then, put on my ugly glasses. Good and bad reputation and image. We feel elated when we're well-known and have a good reputation and dejected when our image is damaged. Continually preoccupied of what others think of us leads to self-preoccupation and emotional instability. We pay a lot of attention to appearances and lacking sincerity. We use others for our own advantage. Many people succeed in achieving a good reputation or a high rank, but lack internal peace and true friendships. Okay, so let's be honest. What kind of reputation do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for after you die? So maybe you have thoughts like this. Remember, these are extremes, but it's so that when we get to the cushion later today, we can sort of think about what's really driving us here. I'm the only person on the planet who has memorized Dan Perdue's book, The Course in Buddhist Reasoning and Debate, and I can recite the entire text word for word. Just give me a phrase. In the meantime, I can just trash people behind their back. I act like a jerk most of the time, but boy, you give me a phrase from that book, I can do the whole page. Or maybe it's the BBC's, right? My BBC has had the most visits of anyone here. Just look. It must mean that I must give good BBC's. Or, why doesn't everyone here read my long application form? Don't you know that I speak 6 languages fluently? This should be in the e-news, not just once a month. It should be on the e-news so that everybody on the planet who clicks on the Sravasti Abbey website knows how many languages I speak. And now I'm getting invitations. People want me to translate. I should have my own section of the e-news, Venerable Trini, that's dedicated to my activities with pictures. Or maybe I'm the person who has written the most emails to venerable children of anybody on the planet. And it's going to be now put into a book that a committee here is going to examine for the next 10 years. And the book is going to be called My Brilliant and Incredible Ideas That Are the Key Support Behind Spreading the Dharma in the West. That's the title. And there's going to be pictures just of me in the book and on the website that's going to be promoting this book. And then we'll have to have it on the Facebook page so that everyone can see what I've done to spread the Dharma in the West. By myself alone. I don't know. His Holiness says this: as a monastic, I'm not so concerned about gain and loss of wealth. However, as the Dalai Lama, I sit on a high throne when I teach, and sometimes in the corner of my mind, the thought arises, I hope people respect me. When explaining the Dharma, I sometimes wonder, does the audience like this talk? Sometimes our minds are invaded by defiled thoughts. What a great practitioner I've become. I hope others notice. It's important to free our minds from expectations of receiving offerings, respect, and appreciation when we share the Dharma. We should talk about our faults and let others speak of our good qualities. You can tell me those later. Way back, when I was much younger, your age, I was part of a Japanese drum group in Edmonton, Alberta. We were the northernmost Japanese drum group in the entire world. We were largely self-taught. There were some Japanese people in the group, and there were a lot of Caucasians. The Japanese people in Japan loved it, that Caucasian people were interested in learning this art form. So because we're the only group for a while in Western Canada, and we're mostly self-taught, we were an immediate sensation in Edmonton. And the local radio station got on to us, and we were being filmed constantly, and everyone thought we were absolutely fantastic. And we were sort of getting the feel that we were becoming like, the Rolling Stones, except we didn't have that kind of talent. But because it was so unusual and people didn't know about Japanese drumming yet, everyone thought we were absolutely fabulous. So it got to the point where we were performing on New Year's Eve events, and the whole room would be filled with thousands of people. They'd be chanting the name of the group outside when we were waiting to come in. It was just like, wow, we're really good. And then we'd come in and the whole room would sort of jump to their feet and cheering and clapping. And yeah. And pretty soon, you'd walk down the main street in Edmonton. Oh, you're part of the now. Oh, you're so good. We know, we love you. It's like, whoa, yeah. But then, one day the real Japanese group came to town, from Japan. Okay. And actually, you know what? All of that sensation, initially it was kind of a really big high, but you get over the high and then there's a big drop. And there's nothing to it. And then you got the problem of being sort of notorious. And you don't want to be notorious. It's a total drag. Okay, maybe I should stop here and do the other two another time, just for the sake of time. So these are problems in our practice. They're problems in our life. And if you want to know the solutions, I'll come back for the second one another time, but Foundation of Buddhist Practice has the solutions for this. And sitting on our cushion, really looking at what's important. Is that Dharma, or is that just more about me?